Hello and welcome to another Zack Carnage video, and this time we're doing another UK Nats format video, and this is a mirror match between Sky Strikers, very much continuing on with the series of learning these decks, seeing some of the interactions that occur, and hopefully providing some insights for you guys in the community. So we'll start off with Callum's deck list here, so you can see definitely built around going second, as should be typical for the list. Playing the Kaiju in the main and the Toon Table of Contents as well. So being able to dump plenty of spells into the grave and search out to an extra deck monster. And then this is the list I will be piloting. So this is built, again, very much going second, more focused on Diabolos, using the Foolish Bearer Goods and stuff in here. Potentially both of these lists will be receiving cherries in the main soon. But without further ado, no more comments on the decks, let's get into the match itself. Okay, so we kick off game 1 with me playing on the right, Callum on the left. I get given turn 1, so I'm playing the goods first, sending an engage, and then using Rota to get into Ray. So we're playing as if we don't know what our opponent has. Ray goes into Kagari, adds back the engage, which means I'll be able to search for that. So the idea being that, you know, there's the potential that you'll be facing against Spiral, Gookie, there's a whole host of different things that you could go up against in the UK Nats format, Altergeist as well. So the question is, do you want a lot of disruption for them? So I go into Shizuku here, then use Engage to play a multi-roll, and that means that we have the loop in the end phase, so end phase search for Widow Anchor with Shizuku, play it immediately on the Shizuku to negate its effects for the rest of the turn, and then I can set it with the multi-roll there. Unfortunately, he has the wave for it immediately, so I just play it on the Shizuku, meaning I'll get one set during the end phase. But he also has the Toon Table of Contents. This is actually surprisingly important in the mirror match, and it's all down to putting having the most spells in the graveyard. So he gets to go into Mega Fleet using my own Shizuku, can't trigger my Ray. And he has a multi-roll and an engage here, so things are looking pretty good for him so far. He gets a Ray out there, uses Foolish to send Diabolos, and that's going to put a lot of damage onto the board. Diabolos is an interesting one because it doesn't, there are a lot of matchups where it doesn't do an awful lot, but there are quite a few as well where you can't really deal with it, especially Sky Strikers. You know, you have to be able to punch over it without targeting it, which can be a serious issue, but you also don't want to leave it on your own board in the mirror match. So he uses the Ray to attack, then goes into Kagari, triggering Diabolos, and attacks with each of those, uses the effect of Diabolos to put a card from my hand onto the bottom of the deck, and then uses Engage to add a Widow Anchor. He then has another Engage, potentially off that draw there, which will add a Shark Cannon, which will be able to deal with the Ray that I have in grave. So just basically dwindling down the number of options that I have available for essentially floating in my turn. Then still in his main phase 2, we'll see if he rotates into a Shizuku here, which will be able to have an end phase search, but he resolves the multi-roll first, setting one engage from the graveyard. And then he searches through the deck with the effect of Shizuku, adding the afterburners here. During the end phase I set one, I think it's an engage there. And I start off by playing a Foolish Bearer of Goods in order to bring up the spell count within my graveyard, so that when I resolve the engage, I'll be able to get that additional draw off. So I believe I sent an engage, and then the set engage is activated. This adds a Hornet Drones, and gets the draw in as well. Then Hornet Drone summons the Ray token, or the Ace token, goes into Kagari, activates its effect, hit by the Widow Anchor there, and then Shark Cannon on the Ray and Graveyard as well, which summons it to his field. So now we have quite a lot to deal with only 1500 life remaining. So continue by playing Afterburners to start clearing things off his board. If I hit his Shizuku, he'll be able to summon back the Ray. I believe this is a misplay what I'm about to do. I should have attempted to take out the Kagari so that I wouldn't have one remaining on my own field. Instead, I opt to go for the Ray, and then take out the set, the multi-roll in his Spell Trap Zone. And then I have another Hornet Drones in hand to bring out another token, and then this token can be used to go into a Shizuku. So he has enough spells in my grave that my Shizuku is very weak at the moment compared to his, which means I can't punch over the Kagari. So not something that I'd realised, and definitely something that's worth paying attention to. The spell count in your grave is super important in the mirror match. Just being able to freely attack over your opponent's monsters is absolutely crucial. So end phase, add a Widow Anchor, play it on his Shizuku so that it returns to his main monster zone instead of his extra monster zone, if that's of any relevance. And then I will be able to set a bunch from the grave. So I've used Afterburners, Widow Anchor, Hornet Drones, and Engage this turn, so I can set 4. And I think I'll reveal these at the end of the turn just to confirm what they are. So it's Drone, Engage, and the Widow Anchor. We each take back our own monsters during the end phase, and then he gets things going. Twister's ditching Diabolos to kick things off. So yeah, the big mistake here, the fact that I left the Kagari on board meant that none of my quick plays were live as soon as his turn began. So he goes into a Kagari, adds the wave, he's able to just tear apart all of the back row. He has the Afterburner for my Shizuku, so I can rotate into the Ray and bring it back, but he also has the Raigeki, so that's very much going to be game there. So the Toon table is putting in some work in that they prevented my Ray from being able to get that float off, but really, you know, having the second turn advantage, and the fact that I committed slightly too early on and made a few mistakes there, definitely allowed Callum to capitalize off my errors. So an interesting start for the match. So we move into game 2 now. Callum's going to be taking turn 1 for this match, this game. So he starts off with a Foolish, sending a Diabolos. And then setting 1 and passing. Now you don't really want to overcommit to a board because you know that your opponent will just be able to deal with all of it pretty much instantaneously. So Engage comes down, adds a Ray. Ray is normal summoned, and we see Cherries come down, but there's a Call by the Grave to deal with that. And yet there was a draw that came down earlier on the Engage, meaning that I won't get additional adds during this turn. So I attack with the Ray, then with a Kagari, taking back the Engage. I set 1, then I do go into, I set 2 actually, I do go into Shizuku to try and reduce the attacks of all of his monsters, but he has a Widow Anchor to take it, which is going to be a serious issue because it means that if either of my set cards are archetypal, then they're not going to be able to be played during his turn. So he kicks things off by normal summoning a Ray. He immediately uses the effect in order to summon a Shizuku, no hand traps for me here, and then brings out the Diabolos. He has more spells in the grave than me at this point, so he attacks with Shizuku, taking out my Shizuku, triggering my Ray. Attacks with Diabolos into the Ray there. So I like to use the quick effect and then chain the Widow Anchor, taking his own Shizuku and summoning out a Kagari so I can add back. I believe I take the Engage there. And then he punches over Kagari with the Diabolos. He then uses the effect. So I get to choose whether I put something back on the top or the bottom. I think I put something on the top there. It's just something that I had in my hand which I wanted the next turn. So immediately draw into it, obviously. Start off by playing an engage, which adds a multi-roll. Multi-roll is played. The idea being that we're both kind of on a low resource point in this game, so you really want to capitalize off your multi-roll in this kind of situation. So bringing out Kagari off the drones, adding an engage. I think he's only got a single card left in hand, but he does have the Diablos, which could be an issue. So I play the engage again. But I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to actually put enough spells into the graveyard. Oh, actually, yes I am. He's only got 2 in the graveyard at this point, so it shouldn't be too difficult to put things into the graveyard and be able to beat over his own monsters. So Kagari can now attack in, and then I can use the Shark Cannon when the Ray triggers. This should have been the other way around. You should Shark Cannon first so that your Kagari is stronger. And then I return the Metamorphose Fusion, which I sent with the goods early on in the turn, in order to get that additional draw. And then I've used Engage, Shark Cannon, and Hornet Drones, I believe, during this turn. So I set 1 from hand, and then I'm going to set Shark Cannon and Hornet Drones from my graveyard during the end phase. And then he's going to scoop at that point. So Shark Cannon being really crucial for stopping your opponent from floating. As soon as you deal with their Link monster, if they don't have a way to bring out their Ray, it can be quite an issue if they don't have another starter card. And very much having multi-roll available after you've reduced your opponent's resources can be really crucial. So we are playing this match with the current end of match procedures, which means that this match is definitely going into time. Callum has given me first turn, because he knows he wants to be able to put damage on board, and we're almost guaranteed that it's going to be 2 or 3 turns, so I basically set an end as quickly as possible, trying to establish some kind of defense here, but he opens up the Toon Tables, so grabs the Cyber Dragon, plays an Engage here, to add the Widow Anchor, and getting the draw obviously. He uses Twin Twisters, discarding the Diablos, hits the Shark Cannon which gets chained to take out the Diablos there. Could have been very good for him otherwise. He normal summons a Ray, punches for 15, and then he can rotate into a Kagari mid-battle phase in order to do some extra damage. No response to the effect of the Ray there. Kagari adds back the Engage, and he does another 19 with that attack. So then Engage, basically, it's established that my turn is going to be the last turn, so he needs to be able to stop me from doing that 3400 damage to take the game. So basically just setting up as much defense as possible, going into Shizuku so that my monsters are weaker, and end phase searching for an afterburner just in case the game does last a little bit longer than anticipated. That's fairly unlikely. So I start off with a goods, normal summon the Ray, and then that is accepted, but it's too weak to punch over Shizuku, so when I rotate into Kagari, he's going to play the Widow Anchor, and that is going to take the game in the final turn of time. So Callum wins this match. Let us know what you think of the builds and the plays that we made. If there are any mistakes beyond what I've mentioned, then feel free to leave those down below, especially any ruling queries, anything like that. Feel free to get in touch, because I love learning all of the potential interactions that perhaps we've missed in the moment, which you guys have picked up on. Is really crucial for establishing a cohesive Nats format. And also let us know changes that you'd make to the deck, changes that you'd make to the plays. Let us know how you'd play it within the same situation slightly differently, so that we can all sort of share this information and build up a stronger idea of what it's like to play the Sky Striker Mirror Match. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to check out the other videos in the UK Nat series. We've got all sorts, including the Altergeist Mirror Match, Altergeist versus Sky Strikers, we've got some Spiral Game against Sky Strikers. There are a few things coming up in the future as well. If you're interested in a particular matchup, then leave a comment down below letting us know what you would like to see. We're very much considering the new format Draco to see if they can compete in any sense. That would be pretty interesting for us as well. And don't forget to check out Top Deck, which is a series where I showcase decks that have topped TCG events in recent months, specifically the UK, but we do branch out into other regions as well on occasion. And thanks for watching this video again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.